Hello and welcome to another video on Back of the Net. It is, of course, Super Six time, and joining us today will be Tony Funnell as well. But let's run those titles.
And the cross by Heffernan, and was that a foul? It's a goal anyway from Funnell.
And I'm going to bring in the man himself, Tony Funnell, and see how he's getting on. How you doing there, Tony? You all right?
I'm very well. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Have you had a good week?
Yeah. Golfing week again.
Golfing week again. Is your game getting any better, Tone?
Well, the golf gets disrupted with the rain, but I am getting more consistent, which is good.
That is good. That's the key, isn't it?
Well, the key to golf really is you get different clubs. You've really got to do the same swing on every club. If you can consistently do that, you won't have a bad game. And at the moment, my swing is consistent. So
good. That is good. And speaking of clubs and being consistent, AFC Bournemouth have had a good run of it recently, Tony, and they've got 4 clean sheets in a row, which is fantastic news. But we played against Wycombe this week. Although we got a goal, Wycombe made it very frustrating for us, Tony. Do you think we're going to face this as a problem when we play teams in this league, that they kind of set up shop to make it quite difficult for us?
Yeah, I think Bournemouth will do on a few occasions. It can be very frustrating when teams do play like that. But I heard some of the stats to the game, and Bournemouth did have a lot of efforts on goal. I don't know what their final tally was, but was it a case where Wycombe were just stringing 6 players across the back line?
Yeah, they were making it quite tricky to break down, and they were quite physical as well. Which I'm not saying,
players,
yeah.
It's good with the Bournemouth players.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, very true. I mean, when you played against teams, Tony, and this is with no disrespect for Wycombe, but obviously they've just come up from League One. We've just come down from the Premier League. And when you play against teams of, let's say, a different standing in football currently, who knows what can happen? Is it difficult? Is it different? Do you just, or is it just a game?
No, it definitely would be difficult. It's no fun playing against a team that doesn't want to come out.
Yeah.
But I honestly can't say it happened when we was playing. I think the game was more open then.
Yeah. Do you think that's, I don't want to go sort of on a tangent here, but kind of the money that's involved in football now has created a cautiousness about some of the ways that some teams play?
It has with a lot of teams, yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't like it. I'd rather, win 3-2, 4-3.
Yeah.
Than 1-0. Hanging on to a 1-0 win, I don't.
Do you think that's because you're a striker, Tony? I mean, what would some of your
true.
Yeah.
Probably our defenders would say there's nothing wrong with a 1-0 win.
Yeah. I'll bet you. Yeah, definitely. And the other interesting news, of course, Tony, this week is that the tier restrictions are changing, or not changing rather, for most. And actually Bournemouth look to be one of the few teams that have got any fans in. From a professional point of view, Tony, what effect do fans have upon the game of you and players that you've played with?
Oh, big difference when you've got the crowd behind you. Although I must admit, sometimes it didn't bother me if we was in an away game and the crowd were against you, because you wanted to sort of show them a bit more as well.
Yeah.
So it didn't worry me. But I must admit, I did notice a difference. I turned on one of the games this week, and although there was only 2,000 in the ground, it was a crowd, and they were chanting, and they were behind their team. And because it was been sort of silent, even that 2,000, I felt you did notice the difference.
Yeah. It's funny. I think Bournemouth have got a distinct advantage having such a small ground as well.
Yeah. And they're going to have 2,000 behind them, hopefully every home game.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And what's quite shocking is Chris Temple, who's sort of freelance, but he works for Radio Solent. He tweeted out today, if the things stay the way they are, all the restrictions and who's in tier 2 and who's in tier 3, Bournemouth might not see any away fans until they meet Bristol in March. So think of all those home games that Bournemouth could have fans for, and yet no away fans. They're not going to meet any when they're on the road. Isn't that crazy?
No, that's right. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Mind you, it is crazy times we're in at the moment, aren't we? Unfortunately. It
completely is. And fingers crossed we're working our way out of it. Tony, would you like to see the league table?
Yeah, I'm a bit more excited to see it this week.
Yeah, I'll start with our top 5 video. Here we go.
Just when you thought it was safe to enter the top 5, Nigel Little returns to wreak merry havoc, knocking Naomi from a perch. At number 4 is Jamie Dawson, 6th best this month. What a wonderful time of year it will be for Jamie if he can keep this up. Alan Rocket comes in at number 3 as his engine spluttered a little on the game week, dropping from 1st. But don't write him off yet, after he's about to kick into warp speed. Paul Bellamy's in at 2, he's had a great month so far, and he's climbing that table quicker than Junior Stanislas can lose his temper. Wowzer. And at number 1, it's Zachariah. The Zach attack is back at the top of the Super 6 stack. Well done, everyone. And what a top 5. Like the remaining turkeys opening advent calendars on Christmas Eve, each of them stuffing chocolate in their little beaks while looking nervously over their feathery shoulders, wondering if it's them for the chop next.
And it could be them for the chop next, Tony, because you are closing in pretty quick. That is our table at the moment. I'm going to zoom in a little bit there. You can see these are the 5 we've just been talking about. And if I just go down a little bit further. Oh, look, Stephen Wheeler. You know him, don't you, Tone?
Yeah, so we're 6, 8 and 9 at the moment.
8 and 9.
Yeah.
What a Christmas. And Alessandro Linford. Alessandro, great to see you again. Back there. Not seen you in a while. Just shows you, though, how quickly it can change. That is amazing, isn't it?
It can. I think you've just got to get those. It's the 5 points you need.
Yeah.
That changes it completely.
Yeah, it does. I can't remember who it was. It was somebody who had got 6 of those at one point, which, just taken them from a really quite lowly position, quite a long way up. Right, what we'll do now is we'll go into our into the game, get to play. Just while we're doing that, Tony, I don't know if you know about this yet, but this week, Bournemouth, when they played, some of the players, well, one player in particular, Junior Stanislas, he was feeling very competitive to the point that he actually pushed one of his own players when he didn't get the ball squared to him. Have you ever been in a situation like that where one of your friends, your teammates have got a little bit annoyed with you?
Well, I told you last week, didn't I?
You did.
I think if he had got hold of me, Trevor Morgan.
Yeah.
Because it was a very similar situation. Because I still think, I definitely feel I should have pulled it back for Trevor Morgan.
Yeah.
And probably, on one hand, you could say the lad Sturridge could have pulled it back for Stanislas. But at the same time, his manager was still wanting to shoot because he want him hiding away from taking his opportunities. So,
and he worked so hard for it as well, didn't he? And similar to the goal we were talking about the other day for you. I do think there's a sort of a striker's privilege. If they've nicked the ball, they've done a lot of work. If they've created the space themselves, that's their job, isn't it? Put the goal in the back of the net.
Yeah, but I also don't blame Stanislas because it shows you how much it means to him as well, which is good for Bournemouth.
It is good for Bournemouth, and all said and done, they're both friends now, and they've worked it out. So that's all good. Speaking of teams that you played for, Tony, look at that first one up. We got Southampton against City here, and Saints are turning a lot of heads with the way that they're playing football and where they are in the league. Actually, not much of a surprise to you or I, is it? After how they got on last season.
No, they finished the end of the season well, and all credit to them this season. I think they're probably one of the best sides in the league.
Yeah.
They're playing some really good football. They work hard for each other. They keep the ball amazing. And I think all credit to them for sticking with the manager when they could last year have said, no, it's not going right, we'll change the manager. Some clubs do that too quick.
Yeah, but he's found that form again, hasn't he? Which is quite impressive, really.
And apparently the way they play goes right down to their under-9s side.
That's what you want to see.
All play the same style.
Yeah. Yeah, that's brilliant. So what we're going to go for here is a prediction.
Well, it's so difficult because City are a good side, but they're struggling for goals. I've just looked at across there, and I've got 1-1 I've put down. I think I'm going to go 2-1 Southampton.
Oh, Tony, look at that. You're going against
your own mind. I'm changing my mind.
Brave. It's brave. I like it. Right, let's wiggle across here. We got Huddersfield against Watford. Both teams probably thinking they got a chance for promotion here. Watford most certainly will. Watford have got some real quality, though, haven't they, Tony? What do you think might happen here?
Yeah, I mean, Huddersfield were playing well.
They were.
Till they got hammering. I think I'm going to go 1-0 to Watford. And Watford aren't scoring many goals, so I'm going to go 1-0.
Yeah, I like that score.
One thing I will say, because there's a lot of people doing our Super Six. Yeah. Is like, I mean, I've just said on that first one, I've changed my mind and I thought 1-1 and I've gone 2-1. If any of our viewers have picked their teams and they put them in, because a good idea is to put your teams in really early. And then you know you've got to do it, especially if there's midweek fixtures. Yeah. You know, you're not going to miss out, because if you forget 1 week, you drop down the league.
A long way,
but, if you have put in your fixtures early, your selections, and then nearer to Saturday, you're not sure, and you maybe want to change your mind, you can still change it.
Yeah, you're very true.
You can still change it, so people should remember that.
Yeah, because things can change, can't they? You can hear a little bit of team news here.
That's right,
Yeah.
So you're not stuck in, if you put your team in, your fixtures and selections in early, you're not stuck with that. You've still got up till Saturday to change it.
See, there you go, folks. Bit of advice from the man in 9th. You should listen to that. I certainly will. We got Brentford against Reading, another one of your ex-teams, Tony, here. Reading are doing well, I think, to stay in the mix. I think a lot of people thought, that they would fade away, but they haven't.
They did drop off a little bit. They had a couple of, odd weeks.
Yeah.
Brentford, unfortunately, they did have to sell, didn't they?
They did.
And it's not going so good as we thought, and definitely not as good as last season for Brentford. But I think Brentford is starting to play a bit better, and I'm going to go 2-1 to Brentford. Yeah,
I agree with you, Tony. I think Brentford have got a little run going at the moment where they've looked really, really good. And when I looked at the stats here, you look at the stats down here, guys, if you ever want to, and actually hardly anyone is backing Reading for this. So I think you're in the majority. Did you say 2-1, Tony?
2-1, yeah.
2-1, Tony, of course.
I was just waiting for that.
I was a bit slow today. Here we go. We got Luton against AFC Bournemouth. Now, Luton, newly promoted. We talked about this a little while ago. But they're facing a Cherries defence, Tony, that has not conceded in 4 games. There's 4 clean sheets in a row. But it should be remembered that Norwich lost to Luton not that long ago by quite a convincing score. I think it was like 4-0 or 4-1. Can't remember.
I'm going for an away victory for Bournemouth, but I'm calling it 2-1 Bournemouth.
It was interesting in the Wycombe game that the players that Tyndall is now using, bringing off the bench, he brought off we hadn't talked about this, but a 16-year-old a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, I noticed that. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, and then last night he brought Josh King off the bench, and someone who sort of you completely forget about. I think he's going to want to rotate a little bit. Is this a game to rotate in, Tony? Is this a game to maybe risk playing different players, resting some players with other games coming up?
Well, obviously nowadays they do rotate players definitely more than we used to years ago. They have got bigger squads. But I always think only the manager and the club itself know the risk, because they know how fit certain players are.
Yeah.
we don't know. We just expect that Bournemouth have got a fit squad. We don't know if 4 or 5 of them are a bit iffy, and they might leave 1 or 2 out. So it's a difficult one. But I just think we might be surprised at sometimes when players are left out. But I think the management have got a good idea of what they're doing.
Yeah, I imagine, Tony. I mean, you've been a player and a manager. I would imagine you would always go with the strongest lineup you've got and think about the next game when you get to the next game.
Yeah, I think most people think that way. But as a manager of a club, you have got to look at the bigger picture. And we've always said this championship, there's a lot of games in it. It's not always wise to go with your best team every week, as is, the fixtures mount up and you're still playing 2 games a week. You've got to rest some players.
No, you are right.
I mean, years ago when I played, you didn't have all the monitors on players that they have when they're training. You didn't have a clue when a player was likely to be injured or not. Nowadays, they have got an idea, if they're struggling and they need to, be rested, don't they?
That's completely right. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at the next one then. So we've got Birmingham against Middlesbrough. Birmingham, actually, they beat Reading not that long ago, didn't they? But things have not been going so well for them since. What do you think, Matt?
No, and Middlesbrough haven't been, it was sort of a lot of draws to Middlesbrough and not many goals. And then they shocked us the other week with a 3-0 victory, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were either 1-3-0, they were 3-0 up.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go 2-0 Middlesbrough.
Okay. Brilliant. Let me check I've done that one. Yeah, I did, yeah. Okay, and then we're going to go across to the last one here. They've got Swansea-Barnsley. This is a funny one, Tony, because Bournemouth beat Barnsley. And then since Bournemouth have beaten Barnsley have been doing great. I have a little look at the stats down here. So this is Barnsley here. Now there's Bournemouth's loss. There's the loss to Bournemouth there. So we beat them 4-0. And then look at this. They beat Wycombe. They beat Sheffield Wednesday. They beat Preston. So, I mean, all right, those teams aren't in the top half of the table, but still, that is interesting to me. What do you think might happen, Tone?
I'm going for Swansea because I think Swansea are a hard side to beat.
Quality, haven't they? Yeah.
On their own ground. They are a good side, Swansea. I'm going 2-1 to Swansea.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Let's get rid of that little bit there. Right. Let's lock this in. Golden goal, Tony?
Golden goal is going to be in the 8th minute this week.
8th minute. We've never gone double digits, have we? Double figures with this. I wonder if it ever does come out double figures. It's because we like goals, Tony, isn't it, I think?
Well, that's it, yeah.
We expect them early. Good. You're going to go head-to-head with Jeff. We're going to lock that in. Bosh. Absolutely fantastic. So we're in, Tone. We've locked it in.
We're locked in, but everyone remember, you're not locked in. You can still change it up to Saturday.
Yeah. He's feeling generous, ladies and gentlemen. He's giving out his Christmas presents early, giving you that little tip.
I'm trying to help people. That's right, yeah.
You'll be 29th next week, won't you?
I'm too fair now.
Yeah, you're super fair. Have you been telling these tips to your family, Tony? Is that why they're doing so well?
I'm not saying nothing to them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just creeping up on the outside.
Sneaking up.
They know I'm getting closer.
Yeah, they can feel you breathing down their necks. That's brilliant. That's fantastic. Well, Tony, it's been an absolute joy once again to join you for the Super Six. I hope you have a fantastic week and the golf carries on well.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure.
Super. So that's enough from Tony and that's enough from me. And we'll see you on the next Super Six. It'll probably be the last Super Six of 2020.
That's right.
It's crazy, isn't it? So we will see you then. All the best.
Adios.
Adios.